Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for being here. We are back yet again with the nice camera and a better camera angle with much worse lighting. I'm working on the lighting bit. I'm going to be ordering a ring light here next paycheck or two to actually get a good serious key light, because I can tell already just in the little preview that like this eye is like completely shrouded in darkness and I got this big old shadow right here and it's driving me crazy. But I wanted to actually start shooting from this angle with you guys. I redid this whole side of the room. I put new stuff up on the wall. I moved stuff from other walls over here. Got my Constable Zuvio and my Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I'm getting way off topic. Let's get into the actual topic of the video, which is sort of a jump on the bandwagon, to be honest with you. Hello Greedo made a pretty long video about this kind of thing and the way that the fandom's acting, and then Alex over at Star Wars Explained did another video, again, talking about issues within the fandom and the way that we're treating each other and the way that we're acting towards the creatives at Lucasfilm and at Disney. And I always try to do my best to avoid bandwagons just because I don't want to be called a bandwagon jumper. So the real reason why I really thought about making this video was, in part, because Hello Greedo and Alex put it into my mind once they started talking about this kind of issue. But it was also, somebody mentioned something on Twitter about the Art of TFA book, where Rey carved straight through a Star Destroyer or something ridiculous like that. And I had the sudden gut instinct thought of, I kind of hope that that's the opening of episode 9 just to get the Mary Sue parrots squawking again. And then I thought about that thought, and I went, wow, that's kind of a... Cover your ears, kids. That's kind of an asshole thing to say. Isn't it? Like, that's disrespectful to somebody that might be having some issues with the way that Star Wars is operating. Now, yeah, I do think that people take Star Wars a little bit too seriously, myself included. But that kind of thing, all it does is create more conflict. All it does is make other people feel hurt, or at the very least, making it so that then they're just going to label you as a hater and of either, what their Star Wars is, or whether or not they like the new Star Wars, or if they're a hater of the new Star Wars, or whatever, a hater of whatever your opinion is. And then that's it. That's the end of the discussion. Now, I want to break down a couple of psychological concepts for you, and those are twofold. Number one is categorical labeling. Something that humans just do by habit. Automatically, it is something that we evolved with. It is placing things, including other fans and other people, into boxes, because it frees up computing power, brain computing power, to worry about not being eaten by a tiger or something. Nowadays, we don't have tigers to really worry about, at least in most parts of the world that are going to be complaining about Star Wars on the internet. So, what we end up doing is just roasting each other over Twitter or Facebook or Reddit or here on YouTube. And it just turns into a bloody mess. Now, the reason why it turns into a bloody mess is that there's a concept called labeling theory. It's both in the psychological field of study and in the sociological field of study. Differentiation is psychological field of study means study of the self, the inside. Sociological is the peoples as a collective. Anyways, back to labeling theory. Labeling theory isn't a proven concept. It is a theory. It is a hypothesis. There's a difference between a hypothesis and a theory in scientific terms, but whatever. It is, apologize if you guys hear thunder. We've got some isolated thunderstorms in the area. But it's not a proven concept. Labeling theory is not a proven concept like, say, categorical labeling is. Labeling theory basically states, in both psychological and sociological fields of study, that once you label a person, they tend to grab on to the person that you're labeling tends to grab onto that label. They want to embrace it because then they can define what that label means. You see that in a lot of much more serious issues than Star Wars. Read here, American politics. But you end up having these people building themselves into camps. Yes, I am an SJW Star Wars fan. Yes, I am a Last Jedi awful kind of Star Wars fan, or whatever box you're throwing at somebody. They're going to tend to get in it, because then they can make that box whatever they want it to be. And then they'll continue to absorb that identity and then grow further and further apart from you and entrench themselves in the worst possible definition that you've already thrown at them, if that makes sense. So really, when you throw around labels like SJW, Last Jedi hater, Mary Sue Parrott, like I thought of, Disney hater, feminazi, whatever crap that you're spewing, you are sending a signal that A, means that you're not interested in talking, you're interested in starting a flame war. And B, you're also sending the signal that that's what that person should identify as. You're going to entrench them in that belief, as opposed to actually coming together and talking about this thing. Now, I think that actually coming together and talking about our differences and all that, mushy-gushy stuff, that should be reserved for, real-life politics, real-life issues. Star Wars is supposed to be just fun. It's hard for me to understand, because the last time that I was ever worried about a Star Wars film or worried about a Star Wars book or whatever, you hear Star Wars fans all the time say, I'm worried about Solo, or I'm worried about The Last Jedi, or I'm worried about what Episode 9 is going to give us. And that's shorthand for, I'm afraid that it won't work for me. I'm afraid that it doesn't, it won't connect with me, that I won't like it, that I will hate said artistic venture. At least that's how I interpret it, and that's how I remember feeling back before Rogue One, when I did run into a brick wall known as Rogue One. My fandom smashed headlong into a movie that I didn't like at all. I went to go see Wonder Woman, and I loved Wonder Woman about 10 times more than I loved Rogue One. And that was a really weird feeling that really debased my sense of identity within the Star Wars fandom and within myself as a nerd, geek, whatever, because I've entrenched my personality into the fandom. Really, right after I went to go see Rogue One. Me and who did I all go see that with? Counting people on my fingers, because that's entertaining YouTube content. Six other people, I believe. Yeah, 6 other people. We all went back to one of their houses, and we sat around and talked about it. And there's my fiance with us, and a few of my friends, and a couple of them are more, or rather less involved fans. A couple of them are like me and super involved in Star Wars and super connected with it. And we all kind of came to the same conclusion, at least all of the super heavily involved fans kind of all had the same crisis at the same time. Me, my friend Edward, and my friend Josh didn't like the movie at all. And like I said, it's very debasing to feel that. It shakes your confidence in something that is always kind of a hidey hole for you to hide away from the world, to bury yourself in. If you ever have a crappy day, you go home and put in Empire Strikes Back, or you put in The Phantom Menace, or whatever your favorite Star Wars movie is, whatever your comfort Star Wars movie is. And suddenly there's something in the Star Wars universe that you don't like. That feels weird. That doesn't feel right. That throws you off. And I think in part the reason why I was able to come and start making at least what I'm striving to be, which is extremely positive YouTube videos that tries to bring the fandom together, less than a couple months after after Rogue One released. I think I started this channel. I think I uploaded my first video on this channel. When was that? You know what? I'm going to check. Yes, about a month and a half after Rogue One. January 5th, 2017 is when I uploaded my very first video, which was my thoughts on Rebels mid-season trailer for season 3. Wow, I was just as bad at naming videos back then as I am now. And please don't go and watch that video. I just cringed just looking at the thumbnail. So, I guess my point is that the reason why I had that feeling, the reason why I was able to go straight into making positive Star Wars content and putting out positive vibes into the internet was because I had a safe space to stand around and talk about it and to complain about Rogue One with Edward and Josh. And I think that we all need to try and do that. I think another reason why I'm so okay with things being not good, with me not liking things, is because right now there's a multi-billion-dollar company and a few thousand fans that are very talented in VFX and directing and acting and all the other production-y stuff that involves making Star Wars movies that are ready and willing to make these things for us. And sometimes they're going to make fan films that we don't like, because they're fan films. I mean, I mentioned in the Twitter thread that kind of inspired this video too, that technically we're in the second generation of fan films. You have the OT, which really was a fan film of ancient myths, the Joseph Campbell Hero of a Thousand Faces stuff, Kurosawa films, and old sci-fi pulp from the 30s and 40s. So technically the OT is fanfic, and I imagine that sci-fi pulp stuff was technically fanfic, whatever their inspirations were. And now we're getting, like I said, these thousands of competent fans and these billions of dollars rolling into that are ready and willing to make more fanfic based on George's fanfic. So I can always move on to the next thing if I don't like this thing. If I hated The Last Jedi, keep in mind, I mean, you guys can see the wallpaper back here. That's the Holdo maneuver. If I didn't like The Last Jedi, I have Solo to look forward to. If I don't like Solo, I have Episode 9 to look forward to. If I didn't like Rogue One, I had The Last Jedi to look forward to. So I guess, no matter what your stance is, I don't care if you love the new Disney stuff or hate the new Disney stuff, or you love the prequels or you hate the prequels, or Ewoks ruin Star Wars, or whatever your stance is. It's so important to just take a breath and realize why you have a billion Funko Pops on your table, and why do you have a Star Wars background on your computer, and think about things like that. Think about what is going to be the next thing that inspires you to spend $75 on, these things, this frickin' thing, this gigantic TIE fighter. Worry about that. Worry about what is going to inspire you to think, what is going to inspire that same sort of childlike wonderment. What was it that inspired that childlike wonderment? And what is something new that you think will inspire that childlike wonderment that the original Star Wars did for you, whatever your original Star Wars is? Think about that, and don't drop people into buckets. Don't put people in boxes, because that just escalates the situation. I'm sorry that this video is so long and so ridiculously rainbowy, even by my standards, but I love Star Wars, and it breaks my heart to see so many people hating it. It breaks my heart to see people who still love Star Wars and loved The Last Jedi, and then now they're tearing down the people that are hating on it, and the people that are hating on it are hurting. And it breaks my heart to see people trashing the people that are going through this kind of crisis, this kind of personal crisis with Star Wars, something that they've loved probably since they were a child. Breaks my heart to see the actual trolls that are just wandering around trying to piss people off. It reminds me of the time when I first tried to get into the internet or the internet fandom, I guess, with the forums back in the early 2000s and me as a 10-year-old kid being told to go off myself because I liked Jar Jar and I made a post about how much I like Jar Jar. Like that's the feeling that the Star Wars Twitter and the Star Wars YouTube and the Star Wars podcasting community and maybe not the podcasting community so much just because of the delay that medium has, but the Facebook groups, the Reddit, the subreddits, the whatever, that's where I'm starting to feel that this fandom's going, and I don't want it to go that way, guys. And I don't understand anybody that would want it to go that way. So just, I guess what I'm saying is don't be a dick. Try not to be a dick. And if you are a dick, apologize for being a dick. And if you see somebody, and most importantly, if you see somebody being a dick, reach out to them. I had an absolutely fantastic conversation on a YouTube stream where a guy came in and I can't remember what his first message was, but it was something like Kathleen Kennedy ruined Star Wars with her SJW politics. That was like his very first message. Never talked to the guy before in my life. I brought up, hey, listen, we just have a difference of opinion. And then I sat there and I talked with him for like half an hour, 45 minutes or something like that. And we had this fantastic conversation about why he hated The Last Jedi and why he disliked what they did with Luke and why I was totally fine with it. And we ended up walking away. We didn't change each other's minds. We didn't try to change each other's minds. We just expressed our opinion about it. And it was eye-opening for the both of us. And just try to reach out. Be like Rey and reach out. And not like this. Anyways, I'll get off my soapbox, guys. Like I said, just try to be nice. I try to be. And if you ever see me not being nice, call me out on it. Please. I'm dead serious on that. I crave being told how and why I'm wrong and what to do to fix it. Because that's the only way that we grow as human beings once we reach a certain age. Stop learning by watching people and we start learning when other people tell us that we're wrong and why we're wrong and how we can fix it. At least that's just my personal opinion. And I'm certain I'm past that age now, so let me know. Let me know what you guys thought about this video down in the comments down below. What are your thoughts on this, whatever this video ends up turning out to be? Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Leave a dislike if you didn't. Hit subscribe if you're new here and you enjoyed this content. I do random rambling videos like this one. I do book reviews and episode reviews of the shows once Resistance comes out. And I do planning on starting to do a couple of vlogs and all that kind of stuff. Usually you upload a video once per week-ish. You can also find me over on Twitch where I stream every Sunday night, usually non-Star Wars games, and I stream here on YouTube every Friday. Also, hit me up on Twitter, also linked down below if you want pretty much instant feedback because I'm a millennial and I'm attached to by my hip to my phone. There we go. I figured out that sentence without flubbing it. I just had to stop and think about it. Thanks, guys. And as always, may the Force be with you. Take care.